Hey guys, Spartan here for January 14, 2022. Going to do a little quick daily recap. Today was Lotto Friday. If you guys want to go to the Twitter, you can see all the posts of all the ideas there. I also post the chat log, but I post all the trades that worked, didn't work, and then throughout the day I'm posting more trades that we're in. But basically today, decent day, nothing crazy, no 1000% runners. We did have some really good ones on SDC. Basically, this one was coming off the lows, and I'm going to pop this up to a daily chart so you can see exactly what I'm looking at. So SDC was coming off the lows today. I noticed this one early on in the morning, and I figured, okay, this is cheap. There's a little bit of volume coming in. I like that. And the options, no one's on them yet. So we took the 250 calls. I actually took 2 calls by myself too, which, they did pretty decent. But we took the 250 calls. Those ended up going up about 550%. We ended up exiting that. Nice little, we held a piece, ended up coming in. And then, that was the end of that little trade there. So decent trade there. TSM was another really good one today. I noticed that it had relative strength. We knew the earnings were good yesterday, and I wanted to get back into the position. And right away, it just started to push to the upside and, looked for continuation. Basically, the strength was there, held it, scaled out. We tried to roll it. That roll didn't work. And then we tried to roll it again at the end of the day, a small size. That one didn't work, but it was a 457% trade on the initial bigger position. PM, this one ended up being a 740% trade. We took the 103 calls when it was at about 102, 20 area. It was just breaking last day's highs, had room. I saw that on the daily, it had room towards 104.11, so I love that. And basically was looking for continuation to that area, but nice little trade there, 733%. It's a decent one. Disney puts, when the market started to sell off, I was looking for weakness. Disney was one of the names that had relative weakness when the market was pushing up this morning. If you look at the SPY, I'll just show you really quickly. Market was pushing. Disney was weak, so we ended up taking puts on the 148s, which worked out nicely for 200%. Starbucks, it was the exact same situation, except we did the 100 puts, which also worked out nicely for 100% and change on that name. What else was a really good one? We had some decent ones at the end of the day. That Netflix news came out on them raising their monthly rate, so obviously that's bullish. We ended up grabbing 340 calls, looking for 347. Didn't end up getting into that area, but we did get 310% on those calls, so that was a good one. As well, we did the, at the end of the day, ABBV, which ended up working out really nicely, the 135 calls. Basically on news coming out as well, FDA approval. Those ended up getting the money nicely and getting a nice push. BA 225 calls. I gave this one on Twitter for free. It was a 300% trade. To the upside, was looking for last day's highs. Beautiful chart, gap filled on the daily, looking for continuation higher on that. And then lastly, we can talk about something like Amat, which had relative strength in the semiconductor sector all day. Looked at the flag, ended up taking it 165. One of the members actually mentioned this to me. He's like, hey, what do you think about Amat? And I was like, I love it. So took the 165 calls, they ended up getting the money and then looking for last day's highs to break, and they did. Some of the stuff that didn't work today, we had Lulu. I was looking for Lulu to get a little bit more of a bounce this morning, and basically, it was more so focused on high PE tech, so that didn't work out well. That was a failed trade. We took some SPY calls. I was too far out of the money. If I stayed closer, like 464, 465, those would have worked, but too bad, so sad. UPST, we took the 118 calls in the morning. I should have went closer to in the money, like 115s. It looked like it had a lot more room than what it did. And then, in hindsight, looking at the daily chart, I could see the EMA resistance at around 114.50 that I obviously didn't take into account this morning, so that was a mistake on my part. BMY, there was strength on ABBV. I figured BMY would work. Took 65 calls. Again, they're just too far out of the money. Should have just stayed left at the money. Would have worked a lot better. GMIA Lotto position out the gate this morning, the 1050 calls. Basically, failure right out the gate, filled the gap on the off the lows, and then just came down. There were 5-cent contracts, so they were super cheap. Not a huge loss or anything like that. And then LMND, another one that didn't work. And this one, I was looking for this to bounce with the high PE tech. Didn't. Just basically couldn't get above last day's high and hold. Couldn't break the 50 MA. And that was a 20-cent contract, and we ended up just getting out of that position. But yeah, a lot of stuff worked today. Hit rate was really high, actually. You can see here. It was a lot of scalp trading that happened, but you can see, we probably did 25, 30 trades, if not more, and 7 or 8 of them failed. But yeah, pretty decent day for a Lotto Friday. Nothing crazy in terms of percentage gains, but that's what happens when you get the market stuck within a range down here. And the VIX kind of coming in all day, which doesn't allow premiums to juice. But decent day, nonetheless. Good week. We did have 1000% on Monday, so hit one at least this week, which is great. But anyways, this is the daily recap. Thanks for watching, guys. We do this every single day, and have a good one. Questions, go to SpartanTrading.com.